Okay, it's time. It's Thursday. Welcome to CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. I'm Jason DeRusha. Glad to have you with us today. Oh my gosh, it's so windy. Just in the middle of the night, I heard the wind just whipping against the side of my house. We have these like little patio puffs. Puffs? I don't know what to call them. It's like a beanbag square thing, and they were just blowing all over the yard. It's going to be windy today. That is the deal. It's a little chilly. The sun should come up this afternoon, though, so that'll be nice. A little bit chilly tonight as well. So if you're going to watch the undefeated Maple Grove Crimson varsity soccer team as they continue their march through the playoffs tonight, and our neighbor Christopher Frantz, the state's leading goal scorer, bring a sweater. It's going to be a little cold tonight, that is for sure. 52 at 8 tonight. This weekend is going to be terrific, by the way. 65 on Sunday and maybe 70 by Monday. I'm trying to get a top 10 weather day going. We'll see how we do. Let's talk about this. Not long ago in Minnesota, just about every high school student took the ACT. The state required schools to give the test for free during the school day. But that changed after 2019, and colleges have made a change too, not requiring standardized tests anymore. So the Pioneer Press reporting that just 60% of grads, 2021 high school grads, took the ACT. Yeah, it used to be, 96, 92%. Now 60%. Many colleges waived those standardized test requirements because of the pandemic. And as someone with a 16-year-old who is a junior in high school, yeah, we're seeing this more and more. Colleges not requiring it. So our question to you, did you take the ACT? Do you think colleges should still require a standardized test? Or should they be looking more holistically? Should they look at grades? Should they look at involvement? The hard thing is, like, schools are different from school to school. The standardized test does give you a bit of a benchmark. You know, maybe you're in a less competitive high school and you have a 4.0 grade point average, but you're taking easier classes. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I took the ACT. I'm not telling you my score. But you can tell yours in the comments if you want. Go ahead and leave a comment on the Facebook page. We will share some of your feedback in just a minute. Let's get to our top stories today as we're watching for the FDA and a panel of experts to consider Moderna's request for an emergency authorization of the booster shot today. It's all about boosters right now, right? That's what we've been looking towards. Tomorrow it'll be Johnson & Johnson's application. FDA did release some information showing people who got the one-dose Johnson & Johnson may be better off with a booster from one of the other vaccines. So that's interesting, too. The FDA panel will look at that should we mix and match our vaccine manufacturers. So all of that, look for today. An iconic cluster of Minneapolis restaurants, really one of the best stretches of quality, diverse restaurants, is struggling. Eat Street. It's just south of downtown, right? It runs from about 14th and 27th, and it is struggling. Pimento, Jamaican Kitchen. Tommy Beavis, the great owner there, just recognized as an inspiring leader by the James Beard Foundation. He says the bounce back has been tough. Sure, they're dealing with labor shortages like everybody else, and because of that, they're going to shorter hours, but they're struggling to attract customers because there's just nobody around.
There's nobody downtown anymore, and so right now we're over at Lake Bidemacaska, where we're hoping we can get some traffic over there, but people are by and large still afraid to come out.
Yeah, their food truck is an issue too. So many restaurants down here, great restaurants, right? And other managers told us off camera, yeah, we're slow too. A chance to get involved. Eat Street Arts Fest this Saturday from noon to 5. And maybe go on out to one of these great restaurants and give them some support. Terrific pho in that area, some great Mexican restaurants. Really nice stretch in Minneapolis. Nearly 70, big news, 70 Americans are about to get more money each month. 70 million Americans, because Social Security is going up. You're getting a raise. So let's start with the good news. The government adding 5.9% to Social Security checks, so you get about 75 extra bucks on average. That's a big deal. It's the biggest increase in 40 years. The bump will kick in January. Would you like the bad news? Everything's more expensive. That is why you're getting the raise. The Social Security rate is linked to inflation, and we all know what's been happening there. Fewer people are flying. Curious to know why more guns are showing up at airports. As far as the TSA is saying, they've confiscated nearly 4,500 guns found in carry-on bags. It's the most in the last 2 decades, and it's only October. Are these just forgetful people where maybe they're not experienced in traveling? Do we have different travelers at the airport? I don't know. MSP Airport, honestly, perhaps there's more of a hunting culture here where people understand the right way to do it, because TSA has confiscated 44 guns this year. That is at least one a week, so that is a little surprising, I guess. It is higher than the number taken in each of the previous 3 years. And this trend we're seeing around the nation, in which a record number of travelers getting caught with those firearms, and sometimes they're loaded in their carry-on baggage. Number one excuse is they forgot it was in the bag. Obviously, what are they going to say? Oh, I was bringing this to go shoot. It's not what they're going to say. Of course, they forgot it. But I do think it's believable where maybe you had it in a duffel bag or something from a hunting trip or target practice or whatever. But boy, if you're a gun owner, the onus is on you. You have the obligation to do a better job and not put other people at risk. Remember last week when Facebook and Instagram went dark, the latest in a series of outages we've seen in some of the big social media companies? Yesterday it was Snapchat. So if you didn't know Snapchat was down for more than 3 hours yesterday, you're just not that cool. Just face it. Just suck it up. I'm sure my 13-year-old was like, how come I'm not getting a snap every 3 seconds from a different girl in my grade? Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they were gone for 6 hours, and all of us old people freaked out about this. Snapchat affected the youngs, and that went down yesterday. Snap's representatives have not said what caused their issue. How do we feel about the state fossil? I like these state competitions. It's kind of fun to have like our state fish and the state ice cream and the state dance, which, by the way, I believe the state dance is the polka. I believe that's right. Number 2 on the vote, the Macarena. That is our second state dance. And the Hokey Pokey is number 3. I'm totally making all of this up. How about the fossil, though? It's the giant beaver! Yeah, everybody! Well, it's not really the state fossil. It's just this goofy competition that the Science Museum had. Here's your history on the giant beaver. We haven't seen this guy in a while. It roamed the area somewhere between 10,000 years ago and 3 million years ago. We have found fossil of a giant beaver in St. Paul. So the Science Museum in Minnesota conducted the vote, and look at the joy that this gave these kind of science nerds.
Beauty. How couldn't you love that?
Couldn't you love this face? Oh.
They're just having some fun. They had kids all over the state and adults weighing in and voting. Nearly 12,000 votes were cast. And the giant beaver, which, what a great puppet of the giant beaver, was up against 9 other fossils. So you'd think, like, boy, with 10 fossils in the running, it'd be lucky for someone to get 10 or 15% of the vote. Giant beaver with 25% of the votes. This was the fossil that was floated to state lawmakers in 1988 and said, hey, you guys should have a state fossil. And lawmakers said, like I would have, huh? Like, who cares? Getting people excited about science is always good. And so this vote was pretty fun. So we'll see if this, the Science Museum says they'll start lobbying on this in the next legislative session. We love eagle cams. We love the one in Minnesota. But near Miami, Florida, the conservation team that set up an eagle cam found a very creative way to kind of get people interested in it. Check it out.
This is a perfect piece of furniture for the nest. This is
enormous. Oh, no,
honey,
This
what are
is
you
going
doing?
out. This is not staying in the nest.
Are you kidding me? Honey, I flew over a mile with this thing.
But who's laying the eggs in this nest, me or you?
A+ for creativity, C- for execution. That's not what an eagle sounds like. Eagle sounds like Sam the Eagle from the Muppets, right? 4 score and listen up, Gladys. This is my stick. You know, it needs to be something more like that. The conservationist got to do the voiceover. Little stick squabble going down there. These two, by the way, now I don't want to drum up a scandal, but these two are eagle lovers. Yep, they've had several chicks in this tree, but their nest wasn't very stable. And we don't need to get into why they found that out, but they built up a platform, and so there you go. Who else would turn that story into what I just did? That's why you watch this streaming news update, isn't it? Oh, gosh. Eagle love. It's a beautiful thing. Let's talk about the ACT test so I don't turn any more shades of red. Come on, put up there we go. Kimberly took the ACT. Remember studying for weeks. I wish I didn't have to take them. I did very good, but still looking at my 4.0 should have been enough. Boy, Kimberly, just looking for the opportunity to drop the 4.0 knowledge. I agree, Kimberly. I did great on my ACT, but it was one test, one moment, you know? And now they let kids take it as many times as they want, and you can assemble this super score of how you scored on each section. Becca says, I took the ACT twice. Hard to say if it should be required. Some very smart people have trouble with tests. Yeah, maybe it is a good thing it's not required at all colleges. St. Thomas, McAllister among them that don't require. You know, it's one of those things, if you get a good score, you're going to submit it, required or not. Leanne says many colleges don't require for acceptance, but scholarships, yes, that's very true, Leanne. A lot of scholarship applications do. I mean, you need some way to filter people out, right? And ACT scores do help that. Unfortunately, I think, you know, over the years, those standardized test scores did filter out some very qualified candidates. And that doesn't seem right either. Thanks, Leanne. Here's Lydia. I suffered that test. I think the holistic approach is much better. It sure is. Yeah, tests cannot predict academic performance, merely measure portions of performance and retention of information. Yeah, you think about what you were tested on in the ACT and how different college was than that. It's hard to tell. Did it correlate or not? It's changing, though. Fewer kids are taking it, and whether that's good or not, I guess we'll find out in, 4 to 8 years when we see these kids matriculating and graduating from college. That's it for the morning update from CBSN Minnesota. Hope you had a good time. Got you up to date on what's going on in our world this morning, and we'll do this again. We may as well do it again tomorrow. I'll see you then.